A hero can't always win. Icarus eventually falls. Whatever hope you might have, whatever belief in me you still hold, discard it. This isn't a triumph. It's a funeral. But let's start at the beginning. Welcome to the third entry in the me destroying every speck of love I had for Batman series. Arkham Origins is an interesting one, because I didn't like it that much when it first came out. The marketing did go absolutely bonkers, but once I went hands-on, I wasn't impressed. Outside of my initial playthrough over a decade ago, I haven't played it since. So, let's set out to do what younger me never could, with our signature twist on the side. Unfortunately, this time, it's a task easier said than done, as this game is going to throw everything it has at us to make sure we don't succeed. Just in case you're new here, I'll give you a setup on the rundown before we jump in. By my definition, 100%ing a game just means earning all the achievements. Unfortunately, Arkham Origins joined the trend of every failed 2010 franchise that tried to sneak multiplayer into a single-player game, meaning there are online achievements for servers that have long since been taken out back and executed. Could I, theoretically, download some strange mod pack to re-enable them, and then force an entire junior soccer division to get the shit kicked out of them by a 26-year-old man just for some achievements? You bet your ass I could. Will I do that? No. Instead, we're just going to ignore the multiplayer achievements because they shouldn't have been there anyway. That takes us down to a crisp and satisfying 49 achievements, each of which we'll have to earn without taking damage. If I take damage at any point, I'll be forced to reload the checkpoint and start again, which, believe me, will be happening more than ever before. That leaves our roadmap looking something like this. Beat the game once, all while obtaining all collectibles and completing all side missions, then beat the game again on New Game Plus, and then bring it around town for a third time on I Am the Night mode. I Am the Night mode sprinkles on a heaping helping of permadeath, meaning if for any reason I die, the entire playthrough gets scrapped and we start back over from the beginning. Once all those are done, we can take on Mr. Freeze in the DLC, then reconvene at the Batcave for our dessert course of combat and predator challenges. It's shaping up to be a long Christmas night in Gotham City, so without further ado, let's begin. Our festivities begin in the Batcave, bearing witness to a man that spent the last 10 years exclusively training quads. Bruce Wayne's been spamming the GigaChad filter so hard that it's permanently stuck, and we suit up before hopping on one of the penny horses that used to be outside the grocery store. Throughout this entire game, criminals and police alike will comment about how the Batman is just a myth, and no one's ever truly seen him before, a fact I'm mentioning just for fun. Anyway, make our ginormous plane go supersonic over the city, arriving at Blackgate and taking down our greatest foe, 2 Chainz. Head down to the lower level, beating these men unconscious for the sole crime of being in prison. Get a sneak peek at our next boss fight before sliding into the local HOA meeting. With their properties now under immediate foreclosure, I'd like to switch gears for a second and show you a website. This article by the National Weather Service discusses the largest snowfall ever recorded in Chicago, one of the inspirations for Gotham, which was 23 inches. Airports and local transportation were shut down, helicopters were being used to deliver aid to people trapped in their cars, and looting was underway. Now, you might be asking yourself, what the fuck does this have to do with Batman? To which I would direct your attention to this magazine headline talking about record snowfall in Gotham. Care to take a guess as to how many inches of snow they're expecting? If you guessed 400 inches, you'd be correct. That's over 30 feet of snow. Mr. Freeze hasn't even been created yet, so this is just straight up the weather. Armed with the knowledge that we have less than 24 hours before the next Ice Age, get our first look at racist Jim Carrey and head in to follow. Send this man into orbit, forcing karmic justice to tip the scales against us, since that guy is 1,000% dead.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
With our first reset out of the way, return and finish this fight with everyone still in the troposphere, then head out onto the roof to meet up with our favorite NBA player.
Thought I caught your scent.
I know I caught yours.
Alright, I'm a little rusty. Defeat Croc using our knowledge of his greatest weakness, small iron bars.
Wait till Black Mask's assassins get through with you.
What assassin?
Whoever wins is gonna be famous and rich.
At least we know he won't be ugly.
Take the Batwhip back to the cave and get our first upgrade, then scan a memory card that wasn't important enough for me to mention earlier. Watching drone footage of Black Mask handing over this document, which was recorded from 2 different angles, meaning either there are 2 drones in this room, or Black Mask made everyone do a second take just for fun. Our recurring cast members for the night are
Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, former military, subject of a failed medical experiment. Garfield Linz, aka Firefly, burns on 90% of his body. His obsession is going to be his end. Copperhead. Strange. These reports reference a male, not a female.
14 escapes, huh? Well, you won't forget Nada. What the?
Floyd Lawton, aka Deadshot. Says here he's an expert sharpshooter.
How on earth?
Street tough named Lester Baczynski. Calls himself Electrocutioner. Shiva. Her skill is unmatched.
For this.
Bane. Here. In Gotham.
Knowing now that we have enough assassins chasing us to form a recreational bowling league, ignore everything and chat up the big dog, making progress towards an achievement that I'll mention much later. Put the guano into I Guana Get Outta Here, immediately getting notified that our signal's being jammed, putting us onto a detour to deal with it. This guy remains totally chill in the face of danger.
I quit.
And we tap into the time stone to solve the mystery of where's the missing ID card and why is it behind the giant grate that leads to nothing. Having completed all of this tower's trials, we're rewarded with a reunion of our least favorite Jeopardy contestant, who has a lot less enthusiasm in his voice this go-around.
Well, well, if it isn't the King Thug himself. Figured it was only a matter of time before you showed up. Sorry about the mess downstairs.
Who is this?
Think of me as a great big mystery, one you're never going to solve.
Enigma, then.
The artist futurely known as Riddler's big middle finger to us this game is an army of Assassin's Creed towers all around the city, forcing us to clear them to re-enable fast travel. Instantly prove him wrong,
And you still can't hack it.
laying the groundwork for a rivalry that will undoubtedly prove to destroy my sanity in Arkham Knight. Reach the Gotham Bridge to stop the first crime in progress, instead becoming the second crime in progress. Unlike my previous iterations, I'm going against the grain this time, and choosing to start tackling the horde of Riddler garbage early instead of at the 11th hour. And first up are relay stations, 10 of each in every district. These functionally serve the same purpose as Tiger cameras did in Arkham City, except the thug dialogue reveals Riddler set all these up himself. Since they're pretty low off the ground and not an immensely complicated piece of machinery, I'm going to go ahead and assume these were placed using the Riddler Honda Civic. That HOA from earlier must have invested in a neighborhood watch. So introduce yourself, reaching the Gotham Bridge and attempting to run across it, causing Batman to say,
This is a long bridge. I should use my grapnel accelerator.
So is Lucius Fox just embezzling money? Why is this in the prototype phase a decade later? A question with no answer, something that would normally be absolutely despised by Gotham's least eligible bachelor, except at this point, he hasn't figured out what a riddle is yet. Instead, he's taken to leaving incredibly sensitive blackmail material scattered around the city, locked behind impossible puzzles such as once our first round of collectible hunting is complete, head to a meetup with the Salvation Army, where we do Santa a solid and give these naughty listers an advance on their lumps. Force the guy standing outside every Walmart in December to contend with the fact that the moon is crashing into Earth Majora's Mask style, before tapping into my educator roots and teaching him how to count to tree. Call up Big Al, learning that the Penguin's gone full Ryan Reynolds and started his own wireless network, leaving us to put an end to Limp Mobile. Resume the cleanup, encountering plywood boards that Batman can't punch through, making him less effective than a 5-year-old at karate practice. Channel our frustration into this man's face, stopping another crime in progress, and reaching 3 gunmen patrolling outside. A perfect opportunity for me to explain one of the more frustrating tasks of this game. As part of the checklist for 100%, we're required to complete 4 different challenge tracks, one of which is just for finding collectibles, so it's really 3. Unlike almost every other logical challenge system though, we have to complete each one in order, or else we won't receive credit. That wouldn't be too bad, except that the worst nightmare track requires you to use predator encounters for their challenges, and there's a set amount per playthrough. If we go through the story without getting all of them done, we'll be forced to complete them on New Game Plus or I Am the Night mode, which could lead to instant death. In order to avoid that outcome, I'll be using scams, hacks, cheats, and all-around skullduggery to try and wrap these up as soon as possible. Hang on, I just got a call from corporate. My card declined on the hacks and cheats. And they're downgrading my package to skullduggery and tomfoolery light with ads. Oh god. For performing 3 silent takedowns, a task about as hard as a 4-piece puzzle, we earn an achievement and unlock the next challenge in the worst nightmare track, which is to finish an encounter without being seen. Well, that's too easy. I run it back stealthier than every kid playing DS at 3 AM, successfully completing 0 challenges because apparently this no longer qualifies as a predator encounter. Why? Unleash our rage on the local fauna, outputting enough aggression to unlock the max combo achievement, and stopping another crime in progress. Continue the mop-up of Riddler's detritus, stealing Penguin's credit card information and tracing him back to the only boat currently harbored in Gotham Bay. Find our first anarchy symbol, a collectible whose only purpose is to give us lore about the buildings around town. Once again fail to punch through the weakest looking walls of all time, which I believe would break if you bump into it too hard. Bust out some augmented reality training, only this time with significantly less cool lady voiceovers, and without any fun prizes at the end. Enigma's lived up to his reputation, creating a hideout fit for a true basement dweller. Get informed that he's gathered enough intel to bring Gotham to its knees, but NCIS just came on, so he's gonna have to wait until tomorrow. Scream that you'll chase him to the ends of the earth, and fail to open a door which we'll have to come back for once everything else is complete. For discovering the Riddler Mouse Clubhouse, Riddler informants are now Winter Soldier activated around town. Although unlike City, this game doesn't require you to save them until last. You can just beat the piss out of them right away, making it much easier and also much lamer.
I'll tell you where it's at, but it won't do you much good. I'll be back on my feet in an hour coming for you.
No, you won't.
Hunt down anyone wearing green with enough fervor that the GCPD puts Kermit the Frog into protective custody. Encounter a down-on-his-luck Tom Hanks,
Oh no! No!
allowing us to finally make our way to Penguin's ship, where we demonstrate the effectiveness of mouth tape to the crew, an act which still doesn't count towards the unseen challenge. Teach these men the true meaning of Christmas. Then try to figure out why this boat has a water-faring raft built within it. Reach this game's version of the museum fight, only with a much prettier version of Penguin and a much less capable version of Enemy. Despite the fact that I've already encountered several puzzles that require an electricity-based solution, I neglect to grab the Electrocutioner's gloves here, likely because he'll need them for the big Electrocutioner boss fight we have later. This boat has full walls of ice, even though Penguin doesn't have a freeze gun yet. These are just naturally forming. The camera refuses to let me look away from this side-along, letting me know it's the only possible way to reach the top of this room. receive intel that Electrocutioner escaped, knocking my total tally of assassins defeated back down to 1. Endure listening to this line.
Aren't you a persistent pain in my bottle?
Every time we get hit. Receiving a heavy-handed season's greeting from Egon Bigman. Alright, even I could jump this one. In the next room, overhear this guy is a man of faith.
It's from the Bible.
So get him up close and personal with a man of the cloth. Clearing this room finally nets us the unseen challenge, allowing us to head into the next room and remind Penguin that if he wants to change his ways, he needs to start with the man in the mirror. We now arrive at a moment I know a good chunk of you have been waiting for.
It appears the game is over before it even begins.
I'm not playing games, Slade.
Surprising! Not such a pushover after all.
The secret I eventually learned, much later, is that unlike every other enemy in the entire series, past and future, you have to time your counters during this fight. If you press the button before the game wants you to, Deathstroke parries it and does an unblockable hit on you. Could I have looked up a guide on how to fight him and went into this more prepared? Sure, but that's no fun. What you see is the remnants of my 13-year-old mind, and the reflexes of a man double that. Plus, as you'll come to see in the plethora of future playthroughs, this fight's honestly not that hard once you get used to it.
You are capable of more. Can you restrain yourself?
Tracking you down was much easier than I thought. Perhaps. You'll regret that!
A flawed technique. It's over, Slade. What are you?
After stroking Slade to death, we run his pockets and use his gadget to grab a Riddler datapack, meaning just before starting our fight, Deathstroke climbed up there just to drop this off. On our way out, catch Anarchy's broadcast, which
Those hired and elected to keep us free and safe won't lift a finger.
maybe we let this one go. He's rigged a bomb to blow up Gotham Merchants Bank. A devastating piece of news, seeing as I probably own the bank. Tom Hanks is upset about it too.
Oh, no! Hey, all of us?
If only someone would set us free.
Alfred does the bare minimum to earn his paycheck,
This Anarchy fellow mentioned 3 bombs, which means 2 still remain.
and I start grinding through any challenges I'm not restricted from.
It's here! Something's going down over here!
Find the dead body of one of Dimension 20's greatest,
Brian Murphy.
reconstructing the crime scene to determine the exact identity of the guy who did it, allowing us to immediately put foot to ass. On the way over, we discover that the Anarchy crew blew their entire budget on copper wiring before buying the detonator, so I guess score 1 to justice. Abuse the checkpoint reload system to complete another challenge, then head over to catch ourselves a murderer. Bad news though, he's a hardened killer. Getting the exact details of what happened is not going to be...
He gave me the account numbers. I faked being a client and cleared out the account.
So you threw him off a roof?
I couldn't risk him warning the bank or going to the cops. I had to protect my interests.
And how'd that work out for you?
Right next to that guy's mangled body is another Anarchy supporter, letting us know that they banded together to convince all of their grandmas to take out a second mortgage, and now have access to detonator technology. With bomb 2 of 3 defused, make like my order at 5 Guys and go for a triple, at which point Anarchy hits up our line to tell us to come through. Arriving in the courthouse, wipe the floor with the Gotham Pickleball Club, at which point he sends in Wave 2, which also includes his incredibly massive AoE Molotov cocktail. In order to avoid the thermonuclear bomb being hucked into this 4x4 room, I'm forced to fight at the very edge. Alright, you basically just beat ass and then sprint as fast as you can the moment you hear Anarchy's lips smack, which should give you just enough.
Leave them alone!
God, how can I not expect the secret second Molotov? Thank God his men are totally immune to napalm, despite me suffering third-degree burns if I even think about being near it. After using my pro-gamer skills to dodge the secret third Molotov, Anarchy himself decides to join the party, allowing me to tap into the Christmas spirit to break bread with my enemy. In this case, the bread serving as the base for a knuckle sandwich. Leave him here, never to be seen again, except for a brief mention a night about being in jail, making him pretty much the only guy we ever catch that actually stays locked up. Acquire more of Enigma's incredibly well-hidden data caches, and use our massive quads to shatter concrete, since I guess we can do that now. Within Lacey Towers, solve the crime of who killed Black Mask, except we know he gets punked on in Arkham City, so it seems for the first time I've beaten Batman to the punch. But if this guy isn't Black Mask, then who is he? An answer that can only be found by doing the classic Batman move of breaking into the police station and stealing their shit. We find the father of the really confident guy from Asylum, and return to the Batcave to convince Alfred that I won't absolutely brutalize any cops that I come across. With his conscience assuaged, absolutely brutalize any cops that I come across, successfully clearing the roof of the GCPD without using detective vision, completing another challenge on the worst nightmare track, with the next one being... Jesus. Good news! This building comes stock with large metal hooks currently serving no purpose besides allowing me to sneak through the building, enabling me to reach our old friend and remind him about the ghost of Christmas present. Unleash only 1% of our true power, then legitimately kill this guy, like, for real. See Barbara Gordon for the first time, the future Batgirl and later Oracle, then reach a gate locked with a jammer, which luckily has the tool needed to bypass it in the evidence locker. If you're asking why we can't just punch it with our fist to disable it, we can't even get through plywood right now. No chance we're getting through metal. I don't know why we can't just bomb it with explosive gel though. Enter the next room to witness spontaneous cellular generation, finding an entire men's bicycle club waiting to take down Bane Jr., who very clearly sounds like this.
If I was you, Biggs, I'd get going.
My arm, you know that? I hear there's a huge price on your head. Come to turn it in.
Obtain the disruptor and make it back to the holding cells to see they've gone full Mount Massive Asylum, only this time I'm the wall rider.
They'll never find your body.
For some reason, there's a guy in full armor, even though everyone was locked in cells 10 seconds ago. And we reach the server room and get saved by Baby G.
Get out of here.
The elevator opens exactly when we need it to for some reason, so bust out a light bat jog before letting Gordon have a ride at the wall. Beat this man so hard his body enters pre-death rigor mortis, then reach the sewers to find that Black Mask spent most of his recruitment budget on kung fu artists, which are immune to takedowns, beatdowns, and most everything except counters and straight punches. Why these guys aren't members of the League of Assassins when the ninjas they have can't even dodge a takedown is beyond me. Hit this guy with the Atom Warlock before reaching yet another room of big guy plus little guys. Hack into the mainframe to solve the case.
Someone spooked Sionis' girlfriend, so he sent her to his safe house, which was anything but safe. Sionis showed up later, ready for trouble, and found it. Or so it seemed. Roman's always been paranoid. That's probably why he's lasted this long. He'd sent in a decoy, giving himself the element of surprise, but it wasn't enough. There was a fight. Sionis lost. The killer didn't hesitate to shoot the decoy, but he wanted Roman alive to access the cash stored at the Gotham Merchants Bank. But it wasn't the fire that killed Sionis' girlfriend. What kind of monster forces a man to kill the ones he loves? The Joker. He's the shadow I've been chasing.
In which the answer relies on the real Black Mask sneaking around to the exterior balcony of this skyscraper. How does he do this? We never learn. On our way out, we see these guys high-key hitting this.
And it will be a grand affair.
Grand affair. Grand affair.
She's really good.
Coming face to voice with Mad Hatter.
Greetings and salutations, Batman.
Not Yet Oracle also wants us to destroy some weapon caches for Penguin, which gives us some incredible rewards. I sure can't wait to use that. Take out the rest of the caches, then glide across the entire Gotham Bridge without touching the ground. A task so boring they made it an achievement. Don't leave Alfred on red because he's our friend.
It's midnight, sir. I just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas.
You too.
Wrapping up the last of Penguin's caches and arriving at what is so obviously a Deadshot execution.
See if you can ID the subject in the shots.
Here we are. One Chucky Burks.
To make up for this embarrassment, put all of Mad Hatter's rabbits down, entering a legally distinct Scarecrow section. Except instead of a really big Mad Hatter, you just have me doing this.
With me?
If you've ever had doubts about whether I'm doing this legit or not, here's me failing to understand this puzzle for like 5 minutes. Castle Salazar is armed with a dastardly puzzle, requiring me to move at such incredible speed that I feel there has to be a different way to do this, otherwise they just expect you to take damage. Hatter fails to beat the Scarecrow allegations by setting the section inside a clock, which happens to be incredibly coincidental, since that's what we do to him when we find him. She's gonna be here crying for the rest of the game, yet another failure on the part of the GCPD, but we have something far more important to do. Take down the Chuckster. Then head to Gotham Merchants Bank to make a deposit of 400 pounds of concrete onto these guys. Black Mask is revealed to be the Joker, making the surefire way to tell if you're dealing with the real Black Mask or not, whether he's getting his shit pushed in. The next room has us attempting to complete our next worst nightmare challenge, which, of course, is never as easy as you hope it'll be.
Whoa! He's attacking us from above, so let's bring him back down.
Push through the deja vu of learning Joker is holed up in the steel mill to find the most obvious trap of all time, granting us an introduction to Shiva, a martial artist capable of beating Batman in hand-to-hand combat.
Trying to collect the bounty?
That's just a consolation prize, in case you fail the test.
She tells us an innocent man is gonna die, news to Gotham that's about as surprising as Cheerios get soggy in milk. We reach the location to find that Shiva's broken the fourth wall hard enough to copy Harley Quinn's trap from the asylum, along the way disabling more than just an electrical box. Somehow in the last 5 seconds, this huge chunk of metal blocked the entrance with no audible cues or catalyst, so tightrope over and disable the other box, saving the officer and doing something no Batman game has ever been brave enough to do. Have us follow a blood trail across the city to find some ninjas. This trail, however, leads to a man 1 day away from retirement, resulting in Shiva challenging me to a final 1v1 duel on Rust. On the way, solve a different crime, at which point Batman says,
"There's no way he could reach that ladder. I should review the crime scene to see how he made his escape."
Luckily for us, the world's greatest detective is on the case. Make the killer understand the gravity of his situation, then enter Shiva's hideout, who says,
"Why did you come? Don't you have a city to save?"
Even though 3 minutes ago she said,
"Meet me at Sheldon Park."
Attack her in our confusion, causing her to summon backup to a 1v1, which is cringe. She continues to run her mouth with sentences she can't back up.
"Well fought. Now let's see if you can handle this. Now we'll see if you're..."
Before hitting us with the,
"Actually, I didn't want to fight you anyway."
"The test is ended, and with it, your life." Enough!
For completing Shiva's quest halfway through the game, we unlock Critical Strikes, the thing you get within the first 30 minutes of Asylum and City.
I doubt tonight's the last I'll see of Shiva.
Our credit card gets activated just long enough for the hacks and cheats payment to go through, enabling me to complete a non-takedown Predator encounter without being in a Predator encounter and using takedowns. While the bug iron is hot, dust these guys so hard they don't even consider fighting back. Rolling right into our next challenge, completing an encounter without detective vision and without being seen. This section of armed men requiring me to use stealth doesn't count as a Predator encounter, and Alfred dials the bat phone to let us know he's isolated Electrocutioner's signal and we can go after it if we want. Except we really can't until after the steel mill. Why didn't they just wait to tell me that until after? Because they hate me specifically. Take out our frustration on the local crime in progress, featuring a man sexually attracted to capes. Return to our old stomping grounds to get some reps in, only to discover these guys have hopped on the juice in the last 2 minutes, as they're now able to wipe my shit clean. Which is a good time for me to take a moment to present an idea that'll take you a while to believe. This game is unfair. Now hear me out. I'm definitely one to whine like a little baby at the drop of a hat. That was never in doubt. However, I'm not complaining about the game being too hard. I'm saying there is a mechanical defect in the hit registration of this game. I've been slowly noticing it more and more, but something started happening ever since that challenge bugged out, and it's begun to get a lot worse. I don't have any hard proof yet, so feel free to dismiss this as the ramblings of a crazy man for now, but I'll return to this point in a few minutes. With our PSA out of the way, stop some crimes, glide some drills, and riddle some towers. Then return to the steel mill and do what we do best. I try, almost entirely unsuccessfully, to cape-stun the Enforcer in this arena, even going so far as to switch controllers to see if it'll work, to no avail. Clear the final room standing between us and my worst nightmare, without detective vision and without being seen. Then head inside to meet the catalyst for my transformation from mostly regular man into insane lunatic. Copperhead is the singular cosmic event that caused me to take action. Do the Arkham City Poison Walk all the way back to the main area to begin the battle and get ready to see this cutscene more times than I can remember. Trying to explain what's happening without proof is next to impossible. You just have to take my word that what I'm saying is true. And I'm a man of science. I know the value of proof. That's why, just like every speedrunner, I've installed an input tracker, so you can see exactly how much of what I'm about to say is man versus machine. Welcome to the case of Amino v. Arkham. Let's take a look at some key moments now. For clarity, in case you've never played the game, these are all fake Copperheads except for one. If we attack the real one, the health bar goes down, but the fake ones all mean nothing except for being fodder to build up a combo. They can still hurt us though. That means, for this encounter, I'm trying to avoid getting hit while scanning the arena for the real Copperhead and directing my attacks at that one. Now, Your Honor, I'd like to present my first piece of evidence. Here, you can see me holding counter and back to avoid these knife attacks. I do this successfully until the icon disappears and the attack sound plays, which is normally enough to dodge the attack. Not a definitive crime yet, but you always start with your weakest evidence first. Let's take a look at our second clip. This one I'm also not as sold on, but I still want to mention it. Typically, you work in 3-strike combos. Pressing the counter button normally overrides any punching task, except for the big punch on the third hit when time slows down. So in a situation like this, where multiple enemies are always attacking you, staying on 1 to 2 hits is normally key to not get locked into an animation. While countering this fake Copperhead, I input 2 punches afterwards, then immediately try to counter this one that's coming to attack me. But I guess that counted towards one of my 3 combo, so I wasn't able to counter. Now that wouldn't really be a problem, and this one is less a piece of evidence of the game malfunctioning and more so a weird piece of game design. If I ever do anything more than counter and a single punch, I will be locked into an animation that I can't break, even if I'm trying to counter. That means this fight is actively incentivizing me to not use the mechanics the game is built around, that of building up combos, instead prioritizing keeping counter availability open. Let's move on to our third piece of evidence, and this one is undeniable. Within this attempt, I've already successfully identified the real Copperhead. She's this one. All that's left for me to do now is attack her. My theory as to what's going on is there's something in the code that deprioritizes Batman attacking the real Copperhead, forcing you to fight off all the hallucinations first to make it more interesting. The unfortunate part of that is that if I track the real Copperhead with my eyes during all of this chaos, instead of being rewarded for finding her, I'm punished by not being able to attack her. For my final piece of evidence, I'll let this one speak for itself.
It won't be long now. Oh, you still want to play? I will indulge you a few moments.
Here's me pausing in disbelief at the start of the next fight. In conclusion, my fair jury, I'm not sure precisely what happened here, but I do know that shit is definitely at least a little busted. There are more examples in that fight of situations that I would argue stray closer to unfair, but those are my most solid examples of something happening that I'm not in control of, and it will continue to happen throughout the rest of the playthrough. However, despite all of the allegations, I'm not a little baby bitch boy. From this point forwards, I'm not going to harp on it again unless it's very blatant, but just know that if you see the controller on screen from now on, it means I probably just died in a way that made me question my own sanity, so I turned the display on to hopefully get a chance to see what's happening. For all of you who came here hoping that the Deathstroke fight would be the one to defeat me, I'm sorry to disappoint. In the end, Copperhead was my downfall, and much to Ice Cube's dismay, we aren't even halfway there yet. With court now in recess, give Copperhead the Mysterio treatment.
You think you're cured? My poison is still in your veins and it will remain there as long as you live. Which won't be very long.
I will destroy you utterly. You will bear witness to the majesty and glory of my power.
Breaking new ground and starting a never-before-seen mission of destroying canisters of dangerous chemicals around the city. The man with his own satellite network still struggles to get a signal, but we have side missions to do before we can head after Electrocutioner. Double up on Deja Vu by following an SOS signal that ultimately leads into me tracing a bullet's trajectory to hunt down Deadshot. He leaves us a voicemail that must have been recorded right next to the Crinkle Paper Factory.
Hello, Batman. I see you decoded my message.
And we get to redeem the boss fight that he never got in City by redoing Catwoman's Two-Face boss fight, but with a bouncy laser instead of rockets. During this fight, I have to perform 4 loud takedowns for another challenge, made slightly harder by the fact that Deadshot calls in reinforcements. Luckily, even though his laser sight can reach his men, he's not paying attention. With another assassin down, I head to the top of Gotham Bridge to get Electrocutioner's signal, finding the sniper rifle used in the trailer for the game, a cool detail for a guy that was here for about 30 seconds. Destroy any remaining canisters we have access to, tracking the signal to the Gotham Royal Hotel.
There's the
and attempting to take down the armed guards outside. Enigma proves his intellectual dominance once again by hucking this data pack into the middle of the floor. Proceed up from the parking garage into the hotel proper, with Joker's men activating their jumper abilities for the one and only time. I'm aided by the fact that healthcare coverage at Jokes R Us doesn't include vision. And I successfully clear the room without being seen, netting another challenge on the worst nightmare track. Joker says,
"When I hire you to kill the Batman, you
shut the hell up and kill the Batman!"
Which means it's time for our big fight with Electrocutioner. Over 3/4 of the way into the game now, Firefly realizes he probably should be doing something, and we get our hands on the shock gloves we should have grabbed the first time. Proceed through Gotham Royal, realizing this place must have been custom built for Solomon Grundy, as every door in this building is about 12 feet tall. Get Ada Wonged, go Lemillion mode, and inform the local fantasy league that the only football we'll be playing is mine to theirs. I'm once again forced to ask the question, how did Joker build this entire setup in one night? As I think whatever criminals he's hiring could make a real go at a life of architecture. Fall for the oldest trick in the book.
Someone's about to get shot!
Finding the only well-hidden Riddler cache in the game. Except that implies he did all the sidling you see me doing right now, which we both know is unlikely. The construction of this funhouse proves to be so unrealistic that even the developers had to include a voice line about how this is even possible.
Where did I get all of this, you ask? Well, I got a great deal on an out-of-service amusement park.
But in a shocking turn of events, every game is fair and winnable, except the combat. Let the bat signal know it's perfectly normal and can happen to any symbol. At which point Batman says,
"I've never seen anything like this."
Except we've already defused 3 mega bombs around this city tonight. We have to dive out a window to escape a bomb rigged by the Joker, this time hitching a ride with Vickard Vale, leading into a fight that forces me to battle from the perspective of a TV camera. That's not too bad, except during this transition, the fight is still happening, requiring me to continuously dodge until I get my sight back.
One thing's for sure, after what I've seen him do tonight, he's on his way to becoming...
Keep your distance!
Enter into a Predator section sponsored by Netflix Dialogue.
I see the Joker's men here have been eliminated. Good work. But remember, our primary objective is the Bat. We must remain vigilant.
Where I activate the Outback Steakhouse 2-for-1 special on Worst Nightmare challenges. Reach the penthouse and receive the warmest of welcomes. The game giving us the greatest cutscene to gameplay to cutscene transition since QTEs were invented. And beginning our first battle against Bane. Honestly, not that bad. I think I'm doing pretty... Bane very quickly manages to climb his way up my rankings of least favorites, driven mostly by the fact that half his attack power comes from being the Juggernaut, bitch. As a bonus star to his unlikability, sometimes Batman will just break his attack chain by kicking Bane, completely ruining the flow of the fight and not taking him out of Venom mode. The combo during this fight also just randomly drops, forcing a restart of my attack chain mid-fisting, often leading to me ending up on the latest album by Five Finger Death Punch. For some reason, the city police department has 2 attack helicopters, well, had, I guess, and we saved Joker multiple times, even though I feel like we probably could have let him do this one.
Where'd he go? Huh? The Bat! The partner! My partner? Who else would jump off a building to save your sorry ass? You know, officer.
I was wondering the same thing myself.
For the first time in this entire series, except for that one time in Asylum, we take control as the Joker, telling Dr. Harleen Quinzel what's most commonly accepted as his canonical origin story. A comedian in debt with the mob, forced to don the original Red Hood, scared into falling into a vat of acid by an encounter with the Batman. For all the ragging I've done on the game so far, I do think that this section, showing Joker remembering his past and thinking about Batman, while simultaneously speaking aloud in a way to purposefully manipulate Harley Quinn, is a cool detail. I honestly think you probably could have stopped the Joker's part in the story here and had Bane take it to the end, but what do I know?
I don't have a lot of friends.
Well, Harley, you got one now.
Return to the cave and grab a grenade stuffed with 100% pure Elmers. Chew in the fat with Alfie P, where he tells us we should go disable more of Riddler's towers in the city.
Disable more of his towers and I can locate him.
Heard, Chef. Let's get right on that.
I will not in good conscience allow you to go!
Alfred, who do you see when you look at me? The boy whose shoes you used to tie every morning? The teenager you drove to his first date? While you are here every night, I am out there. The only thing between the innocent and the predatory.
Be.
No, not may be. I am. When the mugger or the thief stops to think twice, that is fear. That is what I am. That is why they hired assassins, because I am the reason the criminals breathe easier when the sun rises. So no, Alfred, I am not in over my head. Tonight will not be my end, but it will be theirs.
Fortunately, we kiss and make up right after that, so all is well. One of the bayonets is currently decomposing in the GCPD morgue, so do the logical thing and head to our local Riddler tower to take it down. Alright, let's hold off on that for a bit and do some other side quests first. This guy's aura is so intense he negates the disruptor simply by existing, and with Electrocutioner's gloves and the glue grenade, most of the areas that have been restricted to us are now online. Riddler low-key cooks me.
If that information gets into the wrong hands, people could get hurt because of you.
And people do get hurt because of you. So I assume you'll be handing yourself over to the police now?
But his intelligence is immediately undone by the next cache I find, so harmony is restored, and I prove my legitimacy to you with this reset. Tap into our inner Marshall Mathers to put the adrenaline momentum into this guy. Solidifying an Arkham tradition by having Riddler use his ultimate technique, crashing my game. Undaunted, I finish off the final tower to learn that the only thing stopping Enigma from releasing everything right now is his internet speed, giving us around 9 to 14 business days to stop him. Head down to his secret lair and gently turn off his computer, where he then activates the elementary school playground technique of saying he doesn't care because he actually has something way cooler now, but he's not going to tell us because she goes to another school. The mystery door remains locked, and will until I find every collectible, so we'll be back here again later. Make like the infield of the Washington Nationals and turn this single into a double, rolling up on Black Mask at the church and facing my first difficult opponent, a guy actually paying attention.
Ghost. You see that? Down the hatch!
Luckily, with all his points into perception, he had none left for dexterity. Curb punch the last enemy here and destroy the final canister, with Roman Sionis himself having something to say about that. Unfortunately, every time I take damage and reset, I have to reopen and redestroy the canister, which, if you'll refer to my previous email, sucks. This guy does his best Neo impression if the Matrix was connected to Spectrum, and we witness an example of incredible compassion from a thug encouraging the acceptance of welfare.
Put him on disability!
My next worst nightmare challenge is to take down 3 men within the duration of a single smoke pellet, which just received an upgrade by defeating Black Mask. Re-enter the sewers, struggling to solve a riddle for a solid 2 minutes, with one of the times it just straight up scamming me. Make our way back through the GCPD in reverse, learning that the version of Venom currently being utilized can impact the user's memory, a detail that probably won't return later. Cryptographically sequence this door purely for the love of the game, snagging any unclaimed data packs while we're in here, since if there's one thing I enjoy less than a collectible hunt, it's being in a police station. This locker door refuses to open despite the fact that I can rip entire grates off of walls, and I bust out every method in my arsenal to get it open until landing on the correct one. Exit through the rooftop instead of the sewers, apparently the worst possible idea I've ever had, as we temporarily switch games to Deathloop. utilize our training from the Grundy boss fight to barely get away.
Officer Meyer.
Your request has been logged. All available homicide units are out on call. First one back is yours.
Wrapping up the remaining data packs for Burnley, and causing another man to spill the entirety of his guts one question in. Stop a gang fight to get the location of Penguin's top henchman, or you just sincerely have to believe me that I was hitting the counter button. Also, for some reason, this counts as me taking damage. My skills as the Caped Crusader have ascended so far beyond the mortal realm that even the act of me touching enemies is now enough to take them down. The deeper we descend into this labyrinth, the more the illusion is broken. Teach Penguin's top dog new tricks, wrapping up another most wanted, except this guy doesn't belong on the same list as Riddler and Deadshot. Clear the lingering data packs from Gotham Royal and what we currently see of Pioneer's Bridge, then head into Bane's secret hideout, where for some reason unknown to me, a checkpoint isn't given after you defeat this group, so I have to get through 2 tight space combat gauntlets without getting hit. Inside Bane's lair, we discover the beginnings of an experiment with Titan, the compound leading to the entire storyline of Asylum, learning that he knows Bruce Wayne is Batman. Head back to the Batcave to protect Alfred, except Firefly swoops in at the 11th hour to become relevant to the plot, diverting us to the Gotham Bridge to rescue hostages. Head inside and scale our way to the top, facing down against the ultimate test of my mental fortitude, having to complete another worst nightmare challenge, all while any reset I do sends me 30 seconds back. Our goal is to take out 3 henchmen with a single propane tank, a task that, on paper, sounds doable. Due to this guard buying wall hacks, plus the fact that the propane tank doesn't knock everybody out, I decided trying to get it here sucks, and I'd rather take my chances with New Game Plus. Officer Brandon is tied up here, a cop who, in the comics, goes as far as to bomb an entire building just to kill Batman. Fail again to complete the challenge, defusing 1 of 3 bombs on the bridge and heading for the second. Barely dodge a 50 cal, defusing the second bomb and returning to the room we just cleared, where somehow more guys have filled the room despite the heavy police presence around the bridge and a giant unopenable door blocking the only way I haven't gone yet. Fail even more, heading outside where the checkpoint for the next battle is placed right here for some reason. Let's take down Firefly. That first phase wasn't bad. We just have to get to the next part and... Oh, we have to watch this every time. Let's just be extra careful and... Is that a tutorial for sliding? This is the second to last mission. This entire section of the fight features multiple seconds-long segments where camera control is ripped away from you, expertly compounded by the fact that the boss throws grenades that still damage you during these moments. Also, jumping to where grenades have already been also damages you, so you're locked into diving in a circle around these cars. Once all the jank is dealt with though, it goes down easy.
Alfred, I am in your house. Bruce Wayne, come home. Say your goodbyes. Once you've had time to turn grief into anger, then you'll be ready to face me.
Return to the Batcave to find Bane's turned it into the average Dollar General, old dead guy included. Improperly use a defibrillator, giving Alfred just enough energy to slap us on the ass and tell us to giddy up. Deny his workers' comp claim, and Control-C, Control-V the intro cutscene, returning to Blackgate for the 5th to last time. Utilize this conveniently placed propane tank to finally knock out the penultimate worst nightmare challenge, with the final one being to pull 2 men over a railing at the same time using gadgets. Let's give it a try.
Which dark corner is that freak? Look out! Move! This guy took a bad fall!
With all our loose ends wrapped up, fight our way through the prison, saying hi to Deathstroke and warning him to avoid any tank-shaped vehicles in the future, then head into the final battle.
You had a chance to let me die, and you didn't take it. I bet right now you're wishing you had.
Let's do this.
Okay. So, what our friend Bane holds in his hand is a heart monitor. Once he clamps it on, every beat of his bacon little heart will charge the battery on this electric chair. And when it's fully charged... So either you kill Bane...
No, I won't kill him.
But you will. You will fight me with all your resolve, or you will die. Someone is going to die. You, me, or the clown. The question of which one of us it is in your hands.
A compassionate man would be home, mourning the loss of his servant and lifelong companion right now. Yet here you are. Just in case either of you were thinking of getting smug, try to remove the heart monitor and kaboom! More wolves in the house. Uh-oh! Jim. Have a seat, Jimbo. We'll fry together like 2 little potato latkes.
I got a pulse.
I'm gonna jumpstart your heart. Kill you again.
May you find the peace in death that you did not find in life.
I'm not looking for peace. My shot was to temporarily stop Bane's heart.
Now, I will point something out here, which is that you are forced to have your health reduced just a little bit here no matter what. I had to stop and double check multiple times that I didn't get hit, but no, the game just decides to remove some health from you here, so just like the Arkham City health drain, I'm not counting this. Kill Bane, Gordon tanking a bullet, and then coming at me for murder, despite the fact that he should have shot Joker like 40 different times tonight and didn't.
Bane's in cardiopulmonary arrest. I have only minutes to resuscitate him before it's too late.
You mean you didn't?
That's not how I do things. Now go. Come on.
Bane doesn't take kindly to his wake-up call, injecting himself with Titan and turning him into the human version of Hulk hands. Somewhat like Mr. Freeze, Bane kinda learns from his mistakes, in that he just gets progressively more and more tweaked out and starts smashing shit more often.
It's over, Alfred. I've defeated Bane.
Master Bruce? Master Bruce, are you alright?
Once he's taken down, we learn that his brains become the consistency of Taco Bell's ground beef, giving us a reason as to why he forgot Bruce Wayne as Batman going forwards. Croc swoops in for an easy kill, but is scared away 5 seconds later, never to reappear again in this game. And we go back to back with Jimmy G, where, with our powers combined, we too can send a man into space. Let Joker know exactly where he got those scars, saying goodbye to Gordon and officially wrapping up our first playthrough of Arkham Origins, which ends with a teaser for a Suicide Squad game. I bet that's going to be a smash hit in the future. Wrap up all our loose ends around the city, including the final Riddler informant who steadfastly refuses to give up his information, aka the button prompt never appears. Since this video's already dragging and we still have 2 more playthroughs and the DLC to get to, let's montage the rest of this.
You killed a man tonight. Why?
He saw. He would speak. We could not allow it.
What did he see? What's Bane planning?
I will say no more.
Then we're done talking.
With every data pack collected, return to the Rid lair and hack the final door to discover something waiting for us inside. No, not that. Finish off the crime scene investigations, causing Gordon to send word that 20 Blackgate prisoners are on the loose, and it's now our problem, throwing a last-minute collectible hunt at us in the epilogue. Pair our entree with a nice Bordeaux of Anarchy symbols, and a slice of Cyrus Pinckney journal pages, all leading to the discovery of what truly happened to one of Gotham City's founders. Do the tutorial combat maps to get warmed up for New Game Plus, and spend the next hour spam talking to Alfred until we've exhausted all his dialogue, earning us the final achievement of the main game. We now head into New Game Plus, featuring harder enemies and the same level of jankiness we've come to expect from the game so far, now with the added benefit of keeping all our combat upgrades and none of our gadgets, even though that's traditionally what New Game Plus is all about. I'm not going to show you much from this playthrough since there's still one more to go, but I take out Croc on the first try, and change into some new drip, which in this case is the Long Halloween outfit. Deathstroke takes me about 6 tries instead of 20, mostly due to me becoming overly aggressive, and in a twist neither of us saw coming, I take down Copperhead on my first try. The chopper fight is absolutely brutal, especially without counter icons, and Bane's been practicing cornering during halftime, as he's now hitting me with Max Verstappen levels of turn speed. Bane is probably my biggest worry heading into I Am the Night, as the randomness and combo cutting off or dropping combined with his sheer damage output makes one mistake become a run ender. Firefly sucks even more now, and the final combat gauntlet prior to Bane is atrocious. Croc forgets his line, so just repeats the last one he said.
Would you locals back for more? I've had enough of you one night. Would you locals back for more?
And you aren't allowed to skip this cutscene, meaning if you want to 100% the game, you have to watch this 3 times. I Am the Night mode once again ratchets up the difficulty of New Game Plus, featuring our first case of actual punishment for failure. A single death leads to a reset of the entire campaign, forcing me to play at my best at all times, especially during boss fights. This is the final playthrough standing between us and the end. Let's do this.
Someone's
Sionis owns the Gotham Merchants Bank.
Ties will hold me?
Gods! Guys! Can we leave this alone? I've got buildings to lift up. Through the house, not a creature was stirring. Not even well, a bat was stirring. Blows to the head.
When I'm dim, I'll be coming for you.
It's like meeting someone I can actually relate to. Which, believe me, I've never felt before. They need you. Made him angry.
Would have killed him.
The city deserves better than that.
Maybe he can give them something to believe in.
With Joker's brain receiving a Stage 9 concussion, we have officially wrapped up the story mode of Arkham Origins. Before heading into the challenge maps, let's wrap up the DLC now that we're firing on all cylinders. There's only one this go-around, a story about the creation of Mr. Freeze within the Arkham universe. Start by hosting a New Year's Eve party at Wayne Manor, greeting Ferris Boyle, then getting interrupted by a geared-out Mr. Freeze. Every character model in this game has apparently spent the last 5 years jawline maxing, and we sneak away to find Alfred holding it down. Our first achievement opportunity presents itself as we have to sneak our way through Wayne Manor without taking damage. Chat up Vicky Vale, then make it Wayne on their parade. Since we aren't being weighed down by the Batsuit, tap into the Speed Force. Suiting up and returning to the manor to find the man all about ice burning the place down. Play hard to get, earning our first reset and watching Freeze take Boyle, which introduces a mechanic that I cannot believe they included. The ice freezing you happens in a cutscene, but it starts damaging you the second the game unpauses, essentially becoming forced damage. Unless you're good enough to break out before it actually hurts you. Get the details of Victor's plan, our next intel coming from Penguin's men. It can't be a Batman DLC without collectibles, and this go around it's Anarchy riots, guys trapped in ice, and Anarchy symbols again. Solve a crime to get a trail, leading us directly to the man we need to interrogate. With the codes for the building now acquired, head inside to see Freeze and Penguin teamed up, and take down the enemies here with zero contribution from this guy. I get hit with the curse of the elementary playground slide, then methodically clear out the next room. Like a well-oiled machine. Turns out, in the 10 minutes since we saw them last, Penguin's double-crossed Freeze and taken Ferris Boyle hostage, setting up their rivalry going forwards. We have to acquire a drill to break the ice, even though we have bomb spray in our utility belt and don't really care about Penguin. While we're on our way out, we encounter a man with prophetic powers. Grab our extra toasty XE suit, stopping more anarchy bombs and rescuing frozen victims, before dropping an icicle directly onto these guys. Re-encounter a man who must be genetically imbibed with the anti-luck equation, who reveals the drill is in pieces, and I have to go collect them all for some reason. With the pieces acquired, return to GothCorp and use the Predator room to try and line up 3 ice wall takedowns, which refuses to work very well. Solve the crime of what really happened in Freeze's lab, learning what we already know. Freeze is doing everything he can to save his wife Nora, until Boyle decides to steal her and his research, causing him to make a suit and bust out Iron Man 1 style. Rescue the final frozen victim and give Penguin what he deserves, then head into the worst fucking boss fight this series has ever had. Now, would that be true if I wasn't doing no damage? Of course not. This is a decent concept. There's 3 generators around the room, each of which we have to spend significant time powering up while Freeze patrols above. Where this goes wrong is that Freeze will almost always get to you faster than you can overload the generators, since he's max 5 steps away from your side of the walkway the entire time.
Containment breach in Cryotech 2.
Once I finally manage to complete it, we come face to face with an obstacle that not even I can overcome. No matter how fast I smash my buttons, no matter how hard I fight to not let it be true, you must take damage here. I wasn't lying when I told you this was a funeral. For the first time in this entire series, I must regretfully say that no, you cannot 100% Arkham Origins without damage. Take down Freeze and Boyle, listening to Vicky Vale telling us Freeze is being shipped to Arkham Asylum, and that officially wraps up this DLC. For our final stop on this procession, we head once again into challenges. The developers once again decide that the best possible outcome is to make you do the same challenge maps multiple times, with almost zero variation, and in some cases, literally no variation. To complete the maps this go-around, we have to complete each map in their extreme versions once on ranked, then head into custom maps and complete each map and their extreme versions again. What does custom maps do? Well, it lets you choose between all the positive and negative effects that campaigns have to offer, and you can pick as many or as few as you want. Sounds interesting, right? Sure, except I said that you can pick as few as you want, meaning at its base level, this literally just translates to do the exact same thing you just did again, except you can have a power-up if you want. And then, once all that is wrapped up, we return with our favorite feature, campaigns, which force us to play 3 alternating maps back-to-back with modifiers, and only 3 chances to succeed, otherwise we have to restart the whole thing. As for the maps themselves, there's nothing we haven't seen before here. The first map allows me to get the achievement for using all the quickfire gadgets in a single combo, and surprisingly, despite the difficulties I've had throughout this run with the combat being inconsistent, I managed to make my way through most of the fighting challenges with ease. Utilizing beatdowns and ground takedowns balloons your score and makes it so the only thing I need to focus on is countering. The hardest one, by far, is the Mad Hatter fight, but it's not due to any of the reasons you would think. For this level specifically, if I hit one of the rabbits without doing a beatdown first, they go warp speed into the ceiling and are instantly knocked out, which is a severe detriment to building up score. The Predator challenges are also nothing to write home about, except for this part, where I try to set up an explosive gel kill, but forget that the simple act of Batman's fist moving through the air causes a sonic boom. For beating every map at least 3 separate times, we unlock the final 3 achievements, officially 100%ing the single player of Batman Arkham Origins. Thank you all for watching. I won't lie, this was a tough completion. The progressively worse and worse controls, combined with a game that doesn't hold a candle to the others in the series, and the reuse of assets and plot lines that you have to complete 3 different times, was rough to get through. But we've arrived on the other end. And the good news is, there's only one more to go. Huge shout out to my patrons, Alex, Me Jessica, Batvic, Turd Ferguson, Since I Use Ad Blockers, Mustachero, Dixby, Jude, Matt, Muriel, Envy, Raven, Baneful Biscuit, Aminyan, Emo Trashcan, Embry, Vamris, Verso, Alexandria Farstrider, Romlet, Vons, Max, Vince, Nicole, El Jaguar, Mostly New Free Network, Crowbars Are My Kryptonite, Mikey J, and all my other patrons. You all make these videos possible. Thank you. If you love this game, I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. I'm never trying to diminish your enjoyment of a game that you love. As for me, I think I'll stick to Arkham City. Although, I have heard there's some good things happening in the LEGO universe. I'll see you in the next one.